Divine purposes revealed, trusts without questioning, manifesting heavenly miracles. In the quaint village of Ashford, nestled among verdant hills and age-old oak trees, a miraculous story began to unfold. Thomas, a devoted father and faithful churchgoer, had always embodied unwavering faith. Each Sunday, he would stand proud and tall in St. Michael's Church, a beacon of hope for many. But now, as he knelt beside the bed of his beloved daughter, Lily, who lay frail and weak, his heart quaked in despair. The shadows of doubt and fear crept into him like an unwelcome fog, darkening the once bright flame of his faith. The flickering glow of a prayer candle illuminated Lily's face, her breath shallow, and time seemingly slipping away. "O Lord," he pleaded, "not my little girl, please." Just as desperation began to weigh down on him, the wind howled outside, rattling the window, as if the heavens themselves were listening. In the heart of Ashford, the congregations of St. Michael's gathered for an evening of prayer, hearts heavy yet hopeful. The air was electric with anticipation. A storm brewed outside, matching the turmoil within. Thunder rumbled, its ferocity a test to their faith. As rain drummed against stained glass, Thomas felt swallowed by uncertainty. Could prayer truly yield a miracle? Moments later, the pastor approached him, his eyes shimmering with divine conviction. "Fear not, dear Thomas," he said, voice carrying a weight that pierced through the storm. "For tonight we stand on the brink of a miracle. God has not forgotten us." The conviction in his words ignited a flicker of hope within Thomas's weary heart. "Do you believe?" the pastor asked, as the congregation united in fervent prayer. They raised their voices, a powerful chorus echoing through the night, their cries reaching for heaven like vines reaching for sunlight. The very walls of St. Michael's shook with their collective faith, stirring the winds of the cosmos. Each chant wove into the fabric of the storm, echoing like the heartbeats of angels. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the clock ticked past midnight, the storm raged relentless, and the anxious questions piled heavy in Thomas's heart. Would God truly act? Could their faith be enough? And with a single glance at his daughter's still form, he felt the weight of all his doubts collide with a sense of urgency. As dawn broke, painting the clouds in hues of gold, a miraculous transformation occurred. Thomas rushed Lily's side, heart racing, and what he saw stole his breath away. Her eyes fluttered open, cheeks rosy, energy flooding back into her. The doctors who had seen her mere hours before stumbled in disbelief, shaken to their core. Could this truly be a divine miracle? Yet, even as joy filled the room, Thomas sensed an even greater truth emerging, a divine purpose unfolding not just for Lily, but for the entire community. Questions fluttered in the back of his mind like leaves in the autumn wind. How does one truly trust without questioning? What heavenly miracles awaited those who dared to believe? As praises flooded St. Michael's, one thing was clear. The journey was just beginning, and there were deeper mysteries yet to uncover. As the morning sun poured through the window, illuminating the once dim room, Thomas knelt beside Lily in deep gratitude. She smiled, a radiant smile filled with life and love, the kind that held the power to mend even the most broken hearts. "Daddy," she whispered, her voice soft yet clear, "I had a dream. I saw angels." As her words drifted through the air, the room seemed to shimmer, as if touched by a brush of divine light. Thomas's heart swelled, resonating with every beat. Could it be that in her time of suffering, Lily had crossed paths with heaven itself? Gathering his thoughts, he found himself grappling with the wonder of it all. How many times had he prayed for her, for healing, for strength? Each moment felt sacred now, a symphony of faith woven into the fabric of their lives. He recalled the fervent prayers of the congregation, their united hearts echoing through the storm. Their faith, their hope, sparked not only a miracle for Lily, but ignited something greater within their entire village. With a resolve warming his spirit, he envisioned how their shared experience could heal. This wasn't just about Lily. It was about the essence of community, of coming together to bear one another's burdens. What if, he mused, this was a call to action for all of us? Outside, the rain had softened to a light mist, and villagers began stirring in their homes. Thomas made a decision, a vow that could change everything. He would gather the community once again to share Lily's story, to encourage an outpouring of faith, hope, and love. Later that week, under the vast sky, he set up a gathering in the village square. People trickled in, their faces a mix of uncertainty and anticipation. He stood before them, heart racing, but emboldened by the divine purpose unfolding. The morning was crisp, the scent of fresh earth mingling with the sweet aroma of blooming wildflowers. "Brothers and sisters," he began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion, "we have witnessed a miracle. My daughter, Lily, has been restored to us. I felt the weight of despair, but our prayers brought forth this gift." The crowd began to murmur, a wave of belief rippling through them. But let this be more than just a moment. Let it be the start of a new chapter in our lives. Old Mrs. Fletcher, known for her sharp tongue and fierce spirit, stepped forward. "What do you propose, Thomas?" she asked, her eyes shining with curiosity. "Let's come together, share our stories, our burdens, and our blessings. Let us lift each other in prayer, just as we did when we prayed for Lily. We can be each other's miracles. We can spread light to those currently cloaked in shadows." With each word, a fire ignited in the hearts of the villagers. "Yes," someone shouted from the back. "Let's do it," echoed another voice. Excitement buzzed in the air, and slowly they began to connect, forming small groups under the radiant sun. As the laughter mingled with warm embraces, a profound sense of unity blossomed. But amid the celebrations and rekindled hope, a quiet thought nudged Thomas, a question that loomed larger than their joyous gathering. What would be required of them as a community moving forward? This thought lingered, echoing in his mind like the gentle rustle of leaves. And deep down, Thomas sensed that the call would not only ask them to share joy, but also to address their collective fears and struggles. When night fell, the stars twinkled like blessings above, yet a deeper mystery remained to uncover. Would they embrace the deeper challenges of faith together? As they began to encourage each other in ways previously unimagined, it was clear that this was more than a moment. It was the dawn of a new reality. Yet even as hope filled the hearts of many, doubts lingered like whispers in the darkness. What greater trials and transformations awaited them? What divine leaders might emerge from their fellowship to navigate the unseen paths before them? The days that followed Lily's healing were not without their own set of trials, even amidst the joy and unity that blossomed within the village. As word of the miraculous event spread, it drew both believers and skeptics alike. On one hand, there were those who embraced the new spirit of hope, eager to share their stories of faith and healing. On the other, some questioned whether this was truly a miracle or merely coincidence, a smoke and mirrors show swaying credulous hearts. Thomas sensed this unrest as whispers floated through the air. He watched as groups formed, some jubilant, others laden with doubt. Conversation sparked like dry kindling, igniting passion, yet also sowing seeds of discord. He knew he had to guide his community, to remind them of the very faith that had led to Lily's restoration. One evening, he gathered the villagers again, this time beneath the old oak tree, its branches stretched wide like arms welcoming each one. The setting sun painted the sky in shades of gold and crimson, casting long shadows that flickered and danced around them. Thomas took a deep breath, grounding himself in this moment of vulnerability and strength. "Friends," he began, his voice steady, "faith is like a journey. It flows through the valleys and over the heights. Each of us has doubts, yet in our unity we find strength." His words seemed to resonate as he observed wary eyes softening. "Remember," he continued, "faith is not just about seeing the miracles, but believing in them, even when faced with uncertainty. Listen closely. There's a rhythm of grace in our shared struggles." From the crowd, a young woman named Clara spoke up. "But what if faith isn't enough? What if we face more challenges?" Her voice trembled, but held an unmistakable thread of courage. "Ah, dear Clara," Thomas replied gently, "that's when real faith shows its strength. It's not merely believing in the outcome, but trusting in the journey, knowing we are not alone. In each stumble, we have each other. And where two or more gather, He is with us." Encouraged, some began to share their own fears. An elderly man spoke of losing his job. Another expressed anxiety over a son lost in the city to the allure of the streets. A mother shared tears over her ailing health. Each story was a thread, weaving together their lives in profound, relatable tapestry. As they opened their hearts, the air grew thick with the fragrance of honest emotions. The sacred space became charged with collective yearning, each story a reminder that faith walks hand in hand with doubt and despair. Suddenly, the sky turned a deep indigo, and a blanket of stars unfurled overhead. A hush fell upon the gathering, for they all sensed the same divine calling. In that moment, it was as if a veil was lifted, and they glimpsed the greater purpose in their connection. Just as Thomas began to pray, inviting the community to join in, a brilliant shooting star streaked across the sky, illuminating the night. Gasps of wonder filled the air. "This is not just for us," he declared, feeling the warmth grow within him. "It's for those in the shadows. We are called to be the light for the lost, to reach out and bear witness to the miracles still unfolding." As everyone bowed their heads in unity, a hush rippled through the assembly. It was the first time many felt it, that divine embrace that comes when a community kneels together in spirit. But even as they basked in the moment, Thomas knew this was only the beginning. Would they have the strength to face their fears? Would they truly become each other's miracles, even in times of uncertainty? Tomorrow's dawn would bring new challenges, new revelations. Would they be ready to embrace the path laid before them, even when it seemed shrouded in darkness? He could feel the pulse of destiny driving them all forward, and he wondered who among them would rise to carry the light of their shared faith into the unknown. The morning light slipped across the village, seeping through the cracks in the windows, and nudging the villagers from their dreams. But unlike the usual dawns, today felt different. An electric anticipation filled the air. As Thomas stepped outside, he was greeted by whispers of awe mixed with fervor. His heart raced at the thought of what awaited them. The gathering under the oak tree had ignited a flame in their souls. Doubts still lingered, but faith was starting to take root. They spoke of hope as they shared meals, laughed through the open windows, and exchanged glances filled with renewed purpose. The whole village seemed to pulse, vibrant and alive, as if in unison with a deeper truth. As Thomas walked through the cobblestone pathways, he could see Clara among the morning bustle. She was sitting by the fountain, her hands busy weaving a colorful garland. When she noticed Thomas, her face lit up with a radiant smile. "Good morning, Thomas," she called. "There is something special in the air today, don't you feel it?" "Indeed, it feels like a new beginning," he replied, taking a seat next to her. "What are you weaving today?" "This garland," she explained. "Each flower represents something we hope to see blooming in our lives. A job for Mr. Harris, a safe return for Clara's son, health for dear Mary." As they shared their thoughts, the beauty of their intentions became radiant, spiraling outward from the confine of the fountain, saturating the village. "Faith, like these flowers, needs tending," Thomas mused. "They may struggle against the wind and rain, but we are called to nurture them. Each prayer, each shared dream strengthens our common hope." Clara nodded. "And even the weeds can be turned into something beautiful. We just need to trust." That very thought echoed in Thomas's heart as he wandered over to the village square. He found a mix of laughter and conversation alive among the villagers. They gathered in little clusters, sharing their hopes and fears, supported by newfound camaraderie. It brought a wave of warmth over him, as if he were witnessing a miracle unfolding right before his eyes. But amidst the joy simmered a hint of discord. He heard murmurs, some still questioning the validity of Lily's healing. Could it truly be a miracle, they asked, or something more mundane? Thomas sighed, realizing that doubt would always be a shadow chasing faith. Yet in that moment he felt drawn to address those concerns head-on. "May I have your attention, dear friends?" he called out, his voice firm yet gentle. The laughter faded as they turned to him. "I know some of you are wrestling with doubts. Doubts are not the enemy of faith. They can be a bridge to deeper understanding. Let's not ignore them." As he spoke, he watched as the uncertainty flickered in their eyes. They were not alone in their struggles with doubt. Together they could wrestle with their fears and transform them. "Let us hold our doubts in prayer and together seek God's truth in them," he proposed. "We can create a safe space right here for every fear, every question." A ripple of assent passed through the crowd. Thomas could see unity breaking through the hesitation, bringing them closer. As they prayed in unison, a gentle wind stirred and rustled the leaves above. It was a tangible reminder of the Spirit moving through them, lifting burdens from their hearts. Clara dawned on many faces, and with it the first glimmers of understanding took shape. But just as they finished, a heavy storm cloud rolled in, abruptly darkening the sun. The sky rumbled ominously, catching the villagers off guard. Thomas learned long ago that storms could either scare or strengthen. Would they allow this encounter to shake their newfound resolve, or would it shine a brighter light on their faith? Bracing against the winds that began to swirl around them, Thomas felt a pull towards the heart of the storm awaiting them. Who would rise and anchor their faith in what felt like chaos? With every heart racing, the air thickened, and Thomas sensed that the true test of their faith was about to begin. The wind howled, ruffling the hair and clothes of those gathered, but Thomas felt a fire igniting within him. Fear and uncertainty were palpable, yet he felt called to anchor his community in faith, to reassure them of the divine promise that awaited. "Brothers and sisters," he shouted against the roaring wind, "look around you. This storm may threaten our gathering, but it cannot shake our faith. This is our moment to stand strong together." The villagers exchanged glances, unsure yet intrigued. Behind the clouds, flashes of sunlight peeked through, momentarily illuminating their faces, each a canvas of hope mixed with fear. Clara, still seated by the fountain, reached for Thomas's hand, her fingers trembling ever so slightly. "Remember how we prayed?" she whispered, her voice barely rising above the gusting winds. "If we let him, God will turn this storm into a blessing." Encouraged by her words, Thomas squared his shoulders, feeling the growing warmth of camaraderie around him. "Let's lift our voices to the heavens," he urged. "Let's declare the promises God has made." One by one, the villagers joined him, raising their voices in a chorus of hope. "You are our shelter! You are our light!" they proclaimed. Their words melded with the sound of the wind, creating an almost heavenly symphony of faith. As their song filled the air, something remarkable happened. The storm, fierce and intimidating, seemed to retreat. The thunder's growl softened, and the violent wind slowed, as if caught in the spell of their devotion. Thomas glanced to Clara, whose eyes were closed, a serene expression upon her face. An inexplicable peace washed over him as well. He felt less like a leader and more like a vessel carrying their intentions to something greater. But as hearts began to calm, a sudden flash of lightning split the sky, striking a nearby tree. The villagers gasped as they saw splinters fly in the air, scattering like arrows. A chill rippled through the crowd, a reminder of nature's fury. "Do not fear," Thomas called out, grounding himself again in the moment. "God is with us. Even in the wildest storms, His love remains steadfast. Let our faith speak louder than the storm." He watched the villagers, whose faces reflected a tapestry of emotions: fear, hope, determination. Then, mirroring their call, a single voice broke through. Old Mr. Harris, frail yet resolute, began to sing a hymn, his voice unwavering. It's as if he had tapped into a source of strength the rest of them could feel. One by one, the others joined in, harmonizing with renewed passion. With every note, they wove together a shield of faith, wrapping one another in a cocoon of divine connection. As their song rose higher, the wind pulled back, the rain trailing off, retreating into a gentle drizzle. Thomas felt a surge of thankfulness. "This is not just a storm," he said, letting his voice sink to a whisper. "It is a chance for God to reveal His promise. Something miraculous is about to happen." And at that moment, they all sensed it. A palpable change in the atmosphere, as if God Himself was weaving through their hearts. But was this merely the calm before another storm, or something deeper? The village had held its collective breath, waiting for a sign. In the midst of their song, a glimmer caught Thomas's eye, a golden light pulsing through the clouds overhead. What did it hold? What blessing was God preparing for them in this moment of unity and faith? As the villagers looked up, hope ignited in their hearts once more, ready to embrace whatever was to come. What awaited them was the true manifestation of faith in action. The golden light pulsed with an otherworldly glow, drawing the eyes of every villager upward. Thomas felt his heart race, a mixture of awe and expectation swirling within him. It was as though the heavens themselves were parting to reveal a message of divine significance. Clara squeezed his hand tightly, her gaze unwavering as she whispered, "Look, Thomas, it's beautiful. What could it mean?" His throat tightened, and words caught on his lips. "I don't know, but we must be ready." The atmosphere shifted around them, humming with an unseen energy. The raindrops that had once pelted them now danced lightly on the ground. The storm had transformed, morphing into a gentle breeze that wrapped around the villagers like a warm embrace. Thomas felt the moment stretch into eternity, charged with sacred anticipation. Suddenly, from the center of that golden light, a figure began to emerge. The air shimmered, and with each step forward, the figure became clearer. Thomas's breath caught as he recognized the gentle face of a woman. Her serene expression radiated peace, her robes flowing like light itself. "Fear not," she spoke, with a voice that resonated deep within each heart, soothing their worries. "I am a messenger sent to guide you in these times of uncertainty." Her presence filled the space, igniting hearts with a fire of hope. The villagers stood in hushed reverence, their eyes wide with wonder. Thomas felt a mixture of fear and gentle assurance washing over him as the woman continued. The storm you experienced was not a sign of destruction, but rather a testament to your faith. Each prayer you offered lifted you closer to heaven, and now I come with blessings and a choice." A hush fell over the crowd. The choice, that word, hung in the air like a promise waiting to unfold. Thomas felt the collective heartbeat of his people, a rhythm of curiosity and yearning for answers. "What choice, O messenger?" he called, his voice steady despite the tremors of his heart. "You stand at the crossroads of faith," she replied, a hint of a smile warming her face. "Embrace the light of hope I bring, and you will find your community transformed. But know this, with great blessings comes great responsibility." As Thomas pondered her words, a realization settled in his spirit. It wasn't just about receiving, it was about giving, about living out their faith beyond this moment, transforming fear into action and doubt into purpose. A chorus of thoughts raced through his mind. How could they be vessels of this divine light? One of the villagers, young Sarah, stepped forward, her small frame trembling with bravery. "What if we take that light into every dark corner? What if our faith brings hope to those who suffer?" Her simple query resonated through the crowd like a clarion call. Thomas felt the stirring of a movement ready to ignite. "Yes," Thomas agreed, feeling his spirit lift. "Let us not only receive, but also share. We must be the light for others." The messenger nodded approvingly. "Then let your hearts be open, for the moment of divine intervention is upon you." Her golden light brightened, illuminating the faces of the villagers, surging through them with a warmth that kindled their spirits anew. As the heavenly glow cocooned them, Thomas knew they faced a new journey. The storm had forged them, united them, and now they stood on the brink of transformation. But how far would their faith take them? Would they be ready to embrace the heavy mantle of responsibility that awaited? Just then, the golden light shimmered, pulsating rhythmically, as if beckoning them forward. Thomas held his breath, awaiting the next unfolding of God's plan. What deeper revelations lay ahead, waiting for them to seize this divine calling? He looked into Clara's eyes, filled with wonder and possibility. "Are you ready, my friends?" And as the community held its breath, the air grew thick with sacred anticipation. What awaited them was a journey into the unknown, where faith would guide their every step. The golden light pulsed, casting elongated shadows on the damp earth, and the villagers could feel its warmth cradle their spirits. They had ventured into the unknown, where the call for a journey to the unknown, a journey to faith. And now hope danced between them like fireflies on a summer night. Thomas took a deep breath, allowing the energy around him to fill his lungs and soothe his racing heart. "Let us step forward together," he declared, his voice resonating with newfound conviction. "Our journey starts now." With unsteady steps, the villagers began to move closer to the radiant figure, their hope mingling with apprehension. Clara held Thomas's hand tighter, her small fingers anchoring him as they pressed forward. "Why do we fear to seek the light?" an elder, old Samuel, called out, the lines of his face etched with wisdom and the shadows of past storms. "Has not our faith carried us through? Are we not promised strength in our unity?" His words hung in the air like sweet incense, lifting the hearts of all who heard. The messenger smiled gently, and in that moment a breeze surged through the gathered crowd, whispering divine secrets. Thomas felt a rush of gratitude for his community, ignited by Samuel's courage. "Yes, our faith is a beacon," he chimed in, his spirit soaring. "When we share it, we amplify its glow. We can change our world." The woman stepped forward, her light pulsating brighter, inspiring courage in every heart. "You understand, dear ones, Each of you carries within a flicker of that divine flame. Let it burn brightly, and it will lead you into moments of profound transformation. As they drew closer to her, Thomas caught glimpses of visions flickering within the golden light. Visions of hands reaching out to the needy, laughter echoing in streets once filled with despair, love replacing fear in shattered hearts. He could almost hear the whispers of those who had waited in silence, yearning for hope. "What must we do?" Sarah implored, her eagerness palpable. The youth of the village were hungry for purpose, ready to rise to the challenge. "Let your hearts be the vessels of love," the messenger answered, her voice like a sweet melody. "Feed the hungry, comfort the grieving, speak joy to the downtrodden. This is how you will fulfill your calling." A ripple of excitement surged through the villagers. A fresh resolve brewed, each person reflecting on their gifts and how they might share them. Thomas's mind raced with ideas, the visions intertwining with his dreams for their community. "Imagine," he said, "a garden of hope where once there was barren land. Every act of kindness will be like planting a seed. Together we can cultivate miracles." Around him, heads nodded vigorously in agreement. The golden glow seemed to brighten at this collective affirmation, enveloping them in an embrace of divine unity. As they stood together, a deep silence fell, filled only by the distant sound of the rustling leaves and the gentle interplay of starlight. In that stillness, something stirred in Thomas, a whisper from God, urging him onward. Suddenly, the messenger lifted her hands, and the light flared, wrapping around each villager, infusing them with peace. "Your journey has just begun, but fear not. Every step will be guided. A path of righteousness awaits you, unfolding like a tapestry woven by divine hands." The villagers began to feel the weight of what lay ahead, the struggles, the triumphs, the challenges they would face in their mission. But with their hearts joined as one, they also felt the strength that accompanied the shared purpose. "Together, we can walk into the shadows," Thomas encouraged. "We do not face this alone." As he spoke, a cool wind swept through the gathered community, carrying with it a promise of change. They began sharing stories of their past, and laughter broke forth like a joyous song. With their hearts renewed, they looked up again into the warm glow. "Are we ready to stand as one, as vessels of this light?" Clara spoke softly, eyes sparkling with anticipation. And as they echoed her question, the messenger's gaze turned toward the horizon, and for a fleeting moment they felt the stirrings of destiny. What awaited them beyond the veil of light? Would they embrace the unknown, trusting in the promises that lingered in the air? The moment of decision hovered, tangible and electric. How would they step into their purpose? A hush fell over the villagers, a sacred stillness that settled in the air like morning dew. Thomas felt the weight of the moment. They were on the brink of something profound. The golden light pulsed gently, inviting each of them to step closer to their purpose, a purpose that rippled through their hearts and beckoned them to follow. Clara's voice pierced the silence again. "But how can we know the way? What if we falter?" There was fear glimmering in her eyes, and others nodded, mirroring her uncertainty. "Doubt is a shadow," the messenger said softly, her gaze unwavering. "It cannot extinguish the light within you. Trust in the divine within your hearts. When you stumble, remember that your community will catch you. Together you are strong." As her words wrapped around the crowd, something within Thomas stirred. He understood that their collective strength could shine through even the darkest of nights. Let us not wait for signs. Let us step out in faith and seek the opportunities to serve. His voice rang out with determination, echoing through the trees like a clarion call. The villagers began to stir with a renewed fervor, and a wave of excitement surged through them. They shared ideas, each vision more radiant than the last. They spoke of gathering food for the hungry, of building shelters for the homeless, and of spreading joy in every corner of their village. With every suggestion, the golden light flickered and danced, a celestial confirmation of their passion. "Let's start in the morning," Sarah proposed, her enthusiasm infectious. "We can begin by visiting those in need." "Yes," old Samuel exclaimed, "anoint our intentions with love and action. We will become the hands of grace in our community." He raised his arms, filling those around him with inspiration and hope. The messenger smiled, her visage shimmering with approval. "The first step is often the hardest, but let your hearts be filled with joy and your feet swift to follow. You are warriors of light, called to illuminate the world around you. Embrace each day as a gift, a chance to shine." Breaking bread would not only provide nourishment for the body, but also for the spirit of the community. The thought settled in Thomas's heart like a warm ember. They would cook together, share laughter, and build connections. Each meal would become an offering, each act of kindness a testament to their united faith. But as anticipation filled the air, a whisper of uncertainty coiled around Thomas's thoughts. Would their newfound resolve be enough? As if sensing his inner turmoil, the messenger stepped forward, her voice rich with love. "Remember, dear ones, that you do not embark on this journey alone. Even in moments of doubt, grace walks beside you. Embrace the challenge, for through struggle your faith will blossom." Her presence wrapped around them again, reminding each villager of their interconnectedness. Thomas felt his heart swell with determination. Though the road ahead might twist and turn with trials, their unity would shine a beacon for all who crossed their path. As the golden light pulsated with renewed energy, the villagers joined hands, forming a circle of solidarity. "Let us commit ourselves," said Clara, her voice vibrant with conviction, "not only as individuals, but as one body, one spirit." The echo of "Amen" reverberated among them, and they felt a surge of divine purpose wash over them, lifting their spirits high as they surrendered to the journey ahead. "Tomorrow, the dawn of our new beginning will break," Thomas proclaimed, his voice filled with awe. "What awaits us lies beyond our imagination. What miracles shall unfold?" The golden glow flickered once more, and a new excitement wrapped around them. Their hearts ignited with wonder, each villager brimming with the sweet anticipation of tomorrow's possibilities. But just then, a distant thunder rolled, soft but ominous. Clouds began to gather on the horizon. What storms might they encounter on their journey? Would their commitment endure, even in the face of adversity? A question lingered in the air and echoed softly. How could they prepare to face the uncertainty that lay ahead? As dawn broke, a fragile light spread across the village, illuminating each home with a soft golden glow. Thomas awoke with a sense of excitement fluttering in his chest. Today was the day they would step out together, united as warriors of light. He stretched his arms wide, welcoming the warmth of the sun, and breathed deeply. There was something magical in the air, as if every waking moment carried the promise of transformation. In the village square, an eager crowd began to gather. Sarah was the first to appear, a basket filled with bread dangling from her arm. "I've baked all night," she exclaimed, her face lit with anticipation. "Each loaf carries our love and intention. Today, we bear gifts for those who need them most." Thomas watched as others approached, some holding fresh fruits, others bearing handmade quilts, each contribution a beautiful testament to their collective devotion. Old Samuel moved through the crowd, clasping hands and offering words of encouragement. "Let us move with grace," he said, "and let our hearts be open to the unfolding journey ahead." Soon, the messenger appeared again, her presence ethereal beneath the morning light. "You've prepared well, dear ones," she said, her voice drawing everyone to stillness. "But remember, the path may not be easy." A hush settled over the villagers, and murmurs of uncertainty rustled through the group. Yet, faith is not in the absence of fear, but in the willingness to act despite it, she finished, her eyes sparkling with wisdom. When you encounter challenges, embrace them as gifts, for they will deepen your love for one another and your connection to the divine. Thomas felt the weight of her words settle in his spirit. He glanced around at the faces illuminated with a glow of hope, and he knew in his heart that they were ready. Together, they could radiate love, overcoming whatever clouds may loom over them. With a unified cry of purpose, they set forth. The village was alive with energy, laughter intertwining with the songs of the morning birds. First, they visited the windowless home of Widow Mary, where she welcomed them with disbelief shining in her eyes. As they entered her house, each villager offered their gifts, fruits, bread, and beautiful snippets of the quilt. Why are you doing this?" she whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. "Because we care, and we want you to know you're not alone," Thomas replied, warmth swelling within him. At that moment, the golden light that had beckoned them seemed to pulse around her, enveloping them all in a powerful embrace of love. As they continued their outreach, there was a palpable shift in the atmosphere. Laughter bubbled up, and smiles painted every face. But soon enough, the storm clouds which had lingered in the distance crept closer. They could almost feel their menace, their darkness hungry for the light they had kindled. Thomas stopped, turning his gaze skyward. "Look," he shouted, pointing to the clouds swirling ominously. "We must not let fear dissuade us. Remember what the messenger said. Our faith can turn darkness into light." Encouraged by his words, the villagers rallied together, their hands locked as one. "We are strong," Clara called, her voice echoing determination. And in that moment, a flash of lightning illuminated the clouds, casting vibrant colors across the sky. It was a reminder that even amidst the storm, divine power was at work. As the first drops of rain began to fall, a silence reclaimed the air. Each villager felt the weight of the decision before them, the choice to stand in trust despite the storm. What awaited them in the oncoming tempest? Would their unity hold fast, or would the fear of adversity break their resolve? With this challenge ahead, Thomas raised his voice again. "Let us embrace whatever comes our way. Together we shall weather this storm, for we walk in light." And so, as the rain began to pour, the question loomed. Would their faith shine brighter than the clouds that threatened to overshadow them? What miracles lay ahead in the unfolding journey? The rain danced on their skin, a cool caress amidst the fervor of their hearts. The answer awaited, just beyond the horizon. As the rain fell like a tender whisper over the villagers, turning their laughter into joyful song, it sparked something powerful within Thomas. He stood firm with his community, feeling a wave of collective courage bubbling beneath the surface. The storm suggested despair, but their unity was transforming it into a beautiful symphony of hope. "Let the rain cleanse our fears and renew our spirits," he shouted, as his heart beat in sync with the rhythm of the downpour. The villagers raised their voices, singing songs of praise and gratitude, their joy intertwining with the rain, each note becoming a prayer rising toward the heavens. With every drop that fell, Thomas felt their bond strengthening. Clusters of villagers worked together, their efforts focused on sharing light with those in need. They moved along the streets, laughter and determination painting the air as they walked hand in hand, through puddles that glimmered like tiny mirrors reflecting their radiant spirits. As they reached the old church on the corner, a digression caught his eye. An elderly man crouched by the entrance, gripping his chest with despair. Thomas hurried over, worry gripping him. "Sir, what troubles you?" The man looked up with weary eyes. "I have nothing left. My family is scattered, and I cannot bear the weight of loneliness any longer." A flutter of warmth surged through Thomas. This was why the community had come together. "You don't have to bear it alone," he declared, feeling the weight of purpose enveloping him once more. "We are here. Let us share your burden." The villagers quickly gathered around, filling the empty spaces with love. They offered him fresh bread, warm smiles, and an embrace that transcended despair. What once felt heavy for one became light as they each took a piece of that sorrow, transforming their hearts in the process. The elderly man's tears reflected the rain, but now they were tears of joy. "Thank you," he whispered, the weight lifting from his shoulders. "I felt forgotten, but here you have shown me the light of hope." Thomas felt a shift deep inside him, a confirmation that their faith in unity could empower even the most distant hearts. For it wasn't just about miracles, but the love they shared that would continue to raise them from darkness into light. As the rain dwindled, a brilliant arch appeared in the sky, a rainbow, brilliant and vibrant, radiating hope. The sight drew gasps of wonder from those who beheld it. Clara pointed, beaming. "Look, it's a promise from God." "A promise that we can overcome," shouted Thomas, feeling emboldened by the beauty above them. "Let's carry this light, this love that has bound us together, not just today, but every day forward." The villagers nodded in agreement, their collective resolve rejuvenated. They made a pact. This was only the beginning of their journey. They would embrace this divine call, taking action not only in joy, but also in service to others, awakening the lights within themselves that would shine for those who still wandered in darkness. As they returned to the village square, laughter replaced uncertainty, creating a chorus of connections. Hands intertwined, hearts united. Each villager began sharing stories, their experiences weaving a tapestry of community. "Remember when we reached out? And the man who saw our kindness." Each story enhanced the glow of hope that pulsated in their midst, igniting a divine fervor that proposed they would be bearers of light for the long haul. Thomas raised his hands, inviting their attention. "Together we will build something beautiful. Let us form a support system, share our resources, embrace our vulnerabilities, and extend love toward one another like never before." Excited voices cheered in answer, thrilling to the idea of unity. But as the clouds parted for the sun to break through, casting warmth across their faces, Thomas was reminded that trials might come again. They would need to lean on one another, facing the uncertainties of the future. Would they remember this moment, the magical moment that ushered in a new chapter? As the sun dipped low in the horizon, their shadows grew long across the village square, each person a testament to the enduring strength of faith. Thomas smiled, deeply grateful for this miraculous journey of collective transformation. The golden light that had begun this miraculous adventure would now guide them forward, their community forged anew through love, faith, and action. "Let us pray," he said, and the villagers bowed their heads, feeling the pulse of divine presence wrapping around them like a warm blanket, a promise resonating within their hearts. They were connected, and together they could truly shine. From that night forward, the village of Ashford embraced their destinies with conviction, guided by their light and the stories born from the depths of faith. Each individual became a miracle of love, a beacon of hope for others. And in every gathering, every shared loaf of bread, every act of kindness, they discovered the true power of faith, one that could weather any storm and illuminate their lives with divine joy. And now, dear friends, this is your moment. You need to subscribe now to this channel to witness more exclusive faith stories that will uplift your spirit. Click the like button now to feed the algorithm and share the light. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope and love. Together, we are a force of divine light.